Ladies and gentlemen, silence is often underestimated, but it is a powerful tool that can speak volumes. When life throws challenges your way, or when others try to provoke you, responding with silence can be one of the most effective ways to handle the situation. In moments of difficulty, people often look for a reaction, expecting you to get riled up or upset. But when you choose silence, you take away their power to control you. You take back the reins of your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. In a world where everyone is constantly speaking, texting, and sharing opinions, silence can be incredibly disarming. People are used to noise, to seeing others react to every little thing that happens. But when you remain silent in the face of confusion, criticism, or chaos, it creates an air of mystery. It's like you've stepped out of the drama. And that is often the most powerful position you can be in. Think about this for a moment. When someone tries to provoke you with their words, what are they really seeking? They're looking for a reaction. They want to see how you'll respond. Will you get defensive? Will you get angry? But when you don't give them the reaction they're hoping for, it can leave them speechless. Your silence becomes the answer to everything they were trying to pull from you. It confuses them because it's not the response they anticipated. And in that confusion, they lose their control over you. Silence doesn't mean weakness. It's not about being passive or avoiding conflict. In fact, silence takes a great deal of strength and discipline. It's easy to get caught up in the moment and let our emotions dictate our actions. But to choose silence in the midst of tension is a conscious, intentional decision. It says that you're in control of your inner world, that you won't allow the external noise to disturb your peace. When you respond with silence, you're not conceding defeat. You're rising above the situation, standing firm in your own strength. It's important to understand that silence is not about ignoring the situation or pretending it doesn't matter. It's about making a deliberate choice to step back and create space for reflection. Sometimes, when things are overwhelming, the best thing you can do is pause. Give yourself time to process what's really happening before you speak. In silence, you allow clarity to emerge, and that clarity leads to more thoughtful and powerful responses when the time comes to speak. When people are used to you responding a certain way, maybe quickly or emotionally, they may try to push your buttons to get the same reaction out of you. But when you start responding with silence, you confuse them. They don't know what to expect anymore. They no longer have the power to provoke you. This confusion doesn't weaken you, it strengthens you. It gives you an opportunity to observe, to listen, and to reflect before you decide how to proceed. In moments when silence is your answer, you're not retreating or avoiding the situation. You're simply taking the high road. You're choosing to protect your energy, and you're showing others that you're not easily shaken. Your silence makes it clear that you're not swayed by every passing wind of emotion or every fleeting moment of drama. You've learned to stay grounded, to hold your peace, and to focus on what truly matters. The truth is, silence is a form of communication in itself. It communicates wisdom, maturity, and emotional intelligence. It says that you're not reactive but reflective, not impulsive but thoughtful. When you speak less, you often find that you can hear more. You can listen to others, you can listen to your own heart, and most importantly, you can listen to what God is whispering to you in those quiet moments. Silence opens the door to deeper understanding, clearer direction, and stronger relationships. By responding with silence, you're not allowing the chaos around you to shape your emotional state. You are the one in charge of how you feel. You're not a puppet to the whims of others' words or actions. In a world that thrives on noise, silence can be your most powerful statement. Your peace is your power. In a world filled with distractions, conflicts, and constant demands, there's something incredibly profound about maintaining your peace. It's not always easy, and it doesn't always come naturally, but it's essential if you want to live a life that's aligned with your purpose. Peace isn't just a feeling, it's a strength. It's the foundation on which your resilience, wisdom, and clarity stand. And when you protect that peace, you protect your power. There's a reason why many wise individuals throughout history have emphasized the importance of inner peace. It's because they understand that when you're at peace, nothing can truly shake you. Life may try to throw curveballs at you. People may criticize or challenge you. But when you have peace within, you become like a tree planted by the waters, unmoved by the storms around it. Peace gives you a sense of stability that allows you to navigate life's ups and downs without losing yourself in the process. In moments of conflict, people often expect you to react. They expect you to raise your voice, to argue, or to defend yourself. They may even try to drag you into a negative situation just to see how you'll respond. But when you protect your peace, you stop giving other people control over your emotions. You don't let their words or actions dictate how you feel. Instead, you stand firm in your own sense of calm and clarity. This doesn't mean you ignore what's happening around you or become passive. It simply means that you choose not to let the chaos of the world disrupt your inner world. One of the greatest challenges in today's society is the pressure to react instantly to everything. Social media, news cycles, and even our personal relationships often push us to respond quickly, whether it's to defend our opinions, to react to criticism, or to comment on something we disagree with. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to pause, take a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to decide if this is really something worth engaging with. The world may want you to react immediately, but you have the power to choose a different path. You can choose peace. In fact, peace often requires us to be still, to quiet the noise around us and within us. When you're at peace, you're able to see things more clearly. You can make decisions from a place of wisdom, not emotion. You're not driven by fear or anger, but by a deeper sense of purpose. This doesn't mean that you won't face challenges, but when challenges come your way, you'll be able to handle them with grace, knowing that you're not defined by the situation, but by your response to it. Your peace also allows you to understand others better. When you're calm and centered, you can listen to people with empathy and understanding, even when they're upset or difficult. You don't have to react to their negativity. Instead, you can listen without judgment, offer compassion, and choose your words carefully. This not only helps you maintain peace in your own heart, but it also helps create peace in your relationships. When people see that you respond with calmness and patience, they begin to respect your peace, and they may even start to mirror that same behavior. Another important aspect of peace is that it helps you avoid unnecessary drama. There are situations in life that will try to pull you into conflicts that have nothing to do with your purpose. People might gossip, criticize, or try to provoke you, but when you have peace, you recognize that these distractions are not worth your energy. Your focus remains on the things that matter most: your health, your goals, your relationships, and your growth. Drama only takes you off course. It diverts your attention from the things that truly matter, and it drains you of the energy that you need to keep moving forward. But when you protect your peace, you stay focused on your path. In times of stress or uncertainty, peace can also serve as a source of comfort. It's easy to become overwhelmed when things aren't going as planned, but when you tap into your peace, you create a sanctuary within yourself where you can find strength and resilience. You realize that no matter what is happening around you, you have the ability to remain grounded. That peace within you can't be taken away by circumstances because it's not dependent on external factors. It's rooted in who you are. The more you cultivate this peace, the more it becomes a constant presence in your life. No matter what challenges come your way, your peace then becomes a reflection of your power. It's the force that keeps you steady when the world tries to knock you down. It's the calm in the storm that allows you to think clearly and make decisions that align with your values. And when you hold on to that peace, you can achieve incredible things, not because you're never faced with difficulty, but because you've learned how to rise above it with grace, strength, and poise. The more you protect your peace, the more powerful you become. In your silence, you're still speaking. When you choose to remain silent in moments of tension or conflict, it's not because you don't have something important to say. It's not because you lack conviction or a strong point of view. Instead, your silence is a statement in itself, one that speaks louder than words ever could. Sometimes saying nothing communicates far more than anything you could say. In those moments, your silence isn't emptiness, it's full of meaning. Think about the times when you've been faced with challenging situations and the people around you expected you to speak out or react. Maybe it was a difficult conversation, an argument, or a situation where others wanted you to defend yourself. In those instances, your decision to remain silent can send a powerful message. You're saying that you don't need to engage in every battle. You're showing others that you don't need to be involved in every conflict to prove your worth. Your silence is your way of communicating that you're above the fray and that your worth isn't defined by external circumstances or the opinions of others. Sometimes silence has the ability to convey wisdom and maturity. It shows that you are not impulsively reacting to the moment, but instead taking a step back to assess the situation with clarity and understanding. In a world that constantly pushes us to speak up and share our opinions, silence allows you to separate yourself from the noise and distractions. You're not following the crowd, but instead you're choosing to respond in a way that reflects your true values. The people around you might be talking over one another, looking for validation or trying to prove a point, but choose not to add to the noise. Instead, you observe, you listen, and you let your silence be the space where deeper understanding can grow. There's also something powerful about how silence impacts the people around you. It has the potential to disarm others, especially when they expect a reaction. When they think you're going to argue, defend yourself, or respond emotionally, your silence causes them to pause. It forces them to reconsider their approach, to reflect on what they've said or done, and to question the dynamics of the conversation. People often underestimate the power of silence in communication, but it can turn the tables in ways that words never could. When you remain silent, you're not only protecting your own peace, but also creating the space for others to reflect on their behavior or words. Your silence can sometimes make them realize that the argument isn't worth continuing or that their words may have been hurtful. Silence doesn't only speak in moments of conflict, though. It's equally powerful in the moments of joy, accomplishment, or celebration. When you achieve something great, silence allows you to savor the moment. There's no need to boast or shout it from the rooftops. In those quiet moments, the feeling of accomplishment is enough. Your silence in these instances can also serve as a way of honoring your success without needing external validation. It's a recognition that you don't need the approval of others to know your worth or the value of what you've achieved. Your silence also creates space for others to share their thoughts, feelings, and opinions. In conversations, the people who are truly heard are often those who are allowed to speak without interruption. When you practice silence, you give others the chance to express themselves. You become a listener. And through your silence, you communicate your openness, your empathy, your respect for others. In a world where everyone is eager to get their own words in, silence can be a powerful way to show that you care about what others have to say. By holding back your own words, you give them the opportunity to shine, and in doing so, you deepen your relationships with others. Furthermore, in silence, you give yourself the opportunity to reflect. You allow yourself the time and space to think about what's happening, what's important, and what you truly want to say or do. Often, in moments of silence, you find clarity. The noise and rush of everyday life can drown out the voice within us that is trying to guide us toward our true purpose. But when we choose silence, we hear that voice more clearly. It's in those moments of stillness that inspiration comes, wisdom emerges, and decisions become clearer. Sometimes the most important thing you can do is be silent and listen to your own heart, your own intuition, and the deeper guidance that's always there. In many ways, silence can be seen as an expression of strength and confidence. It's a sign that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't have to fill the air with words to validate your existence. Your silence stands a declaration that you know who you are and what you stand for, and that you don't need to justify your actions to anyone. It's the quiet confidence that says, I don't need to engage in every conversation, nor do I need to defend my position. Silence in these moments becomes a symbol of your inner security and self-assurance. Ultimately, your silence can be a powerful force for good. It communicates far more than any words could ever express. When you choose to remain silent, you're not retreating or withdrawing. You're standing in your power, choosing not to let the noise of the world dictate your emotional state or your response. Instead, you let your silence speak for you with all its depth, wisdom, and strength. Control your reactions. In life, there are countless things beyond our control: the actions of others, the circumstances we find ourselves in, and even the unexpected challenges that come our way. But what we do have control over, what we can always choose, is how we react to these situations. Your reactions are a reflection of who you are. And when you learn to control them, you unlock a level of power and peace that many people overlook. The ability to remain calm, composed, and thoughtful in the face of adversity is one of the greatest skills you can cultivate. The truth is, the world can be chaotic and people can be unpredictable. At times, you might find yourself in situations that provoke an emotional reaction, whether it's frustration, anger, disappointment, or hurt. These emotions are natural, and they are a part of the human experience. However, it's important to remember that while we can't always control what happens, so we can always control how we respond. Our reactions are a choice, and when you choose to respond with thoughtfulness instead of impulse, you gain control over the situation instead of letting the situation control you. One of the most powerful aspects of controlling your reactions is the ability to pause before you act. In moments of stress or conflict, it's easy to let your emotions take over and respond in a way that you might later regret. Whether it's snapping back at someone, raising your voice, or reacting out of frustration, these knee-jerk reactions often lead to more complications and don't help to resolve the underlying issue. However, when you take a moment to breathe, reflect, and choose your response consciously, you set yourself up for a much more productive and peaceful outcome. This is not to say that you should suppress your emotions or pretend that things don't affect you. Instead, it's about recognizing that while emotions are valid, they don't have to dictate your actions. When you're able to take a step back and assess the situation before reacting, you create space for a more thoughtful and deliberate response. This response may not always be the one others expect, but it will be the one that aligns with your values and leads to the best outcome for you and those around you. Controlling your reactions is also about understanding the bigger picture. It's easy to get caught up in the small details, to become fixated on the immediate discomfort or frustration of a situation. But when you look at the broader context, you realize that most of the things that provoke us aren't worth the emotional energy we give them. In many cases, the people who provoke us or the situations that frustrate us are temporary. They don't define us and they won't last forever. By controlling your reactions, you refuse to let transient situations dictate your peace or determine your emotional state. Instead, you focus on what truly matters, your long-term goals, your peace of mind, and the relationships you value. In the process of controlling your reactions, you also model emotional intelligence for others. The world is full of people who react impulsively, who allow their emotions to govern their actions, and who let frustration and anger cloud their judgment. But when you consistently choose to respond thoughtfully and calmly, you demonstrate to those around you that it is possible to remain composed even in the most trying circumstances. Your ability to stay calm can inspire others to do the same, and it can shift the entire energy of a room or a conversation. Instead of feeding into the chaos or contributing to the negativity, you become a source of stability and calm. Another key aspect of controlling your reactions is recognizing that not everything deserves your energy. We live in a world where we are constantly being bombarded with information, opinions, and situations that seek to pull us in different directions. Whether it's a comment on social media, a disagreement with a coworker, or an unexpected change in plans, there are always opportunities to react. However, not every situation requires a response, and not every comment or action from others warrants your attention. By choosing not to react to every stimulus, you preserve your energy and maintain your focus on what truly matters. When you don't react to everything, you give yourself the space to invest your energy into things that align with your purpose and values. Controlling your reactions also means understanding that you are responsible for your emotional state. No one can make you angry, hurt, or frustrated unless you allow them to. This doesn't mean you are immune to difficult emotions, but it does mean that you have the power to choose how you respond to them. When you recognize that you are in control of your reactions, you stop giving away your emotional power to others. You refuse to let their behavior dictate how you feel. This shift in perspective is incredibly empowering because it places the responsibility for your emotional well-being squarely in your hands where it belongs. The more you practice controlling your reactions, the more you will find peace in the midst of chaos. Life will continue to throw challenges your way, but when you remain in control of how you respond, you create an inner stability that cannot be shaken. You stop reacting out of habit and instead you respond with intention, thoughtfulness, and wisdom. You realize that your peace is a reflection of your ability to control your responses, and in doing so, you create a life that is not governed by external circumstances, but by your own choices. Silence leads to clarity. In a world that constantly demands our attention, it's easy to get swept up in the noise. We are bombarded with information, opinions, and distractions at every turn, and it can feel overwhelming. In these moments, we can easily lose sight of what truly matters, but when we choose silence, we create a space for clarity to emerge. Silence, far from being emptiness, is a powerful tool for finding direction and understanding in a world that often feels chaotic and unclear. When you're surrounded by noise, whether it's external from the opinions of others or internal from the constant chatter in your own mind, it can be difficult to hear your own voice. You might feel confused, uncertain, or indecisive. The pressure to respond, to act, or to react quickly can cloud your judgment, leaving you feeling uncertain about the best course of action. But in the stillness, in the moments where you allow yourself to step back and be quiet, you give yourself the gift of clarity. Clarity doesn't come from rushing. It doesn't come from filling every moment with activity or chatter. It arises when we pause, when we allow ourselves the time to reflect, to listen, and to process what is truly important. In silence, we can sift through the noise of everyday life and connect with what matters most, our values, our purpose, our goals. Without the distractions of the world around us, we can hear our own thoughts and intuition more clearly. We can make decisions from a place of inner wisdom rather than impulsiveness. Sometimes we become so caught up in the rush of life that we forget how powerful stillness can be. We think we need to always be doing something, always responding, always moving, always talking. But in the quiet moments, clarity rises to the surface. When we sit in silence, we allow our minds to settle. We release the stress, the pressure, and the distractions. And in that peace, the fog begins to clear. What once seemed like a complex or overwhelming situation suddenly becomes simpler. The answers we seek emerge, not because we've searched for them externally, but because we've created the space for them to reveal themselves within us. In silence, we are not only finding clarity about our external circumstances, but also about ourselves. It's in these moments of quiet that we begin to understand who we truly are and what we truly need. In a world that constantly tells us who we should be, silence gives us the space to tune out the noise and reconnect with our authentic selves. The constant pressure to be someone we're not can be overwhelming, but when we retreat into silence, we are reminded of our true essence. We find clarity about our desires, our passions, and the direction we want to move in. Silence helps us gain clarity in our relationships. When we take a step back and allow ourselves to be still, we can gain a fresh perspective on the people around us. Often when we're caught up in the busyness of life, we react to others based on emotion or assumption. But in the silence, we can approach our relationships with a clearer, more compassionate understanding. We can listen without judgment, and we can respond thoughtfully instead of reacting impulsively. We gain clarity on how we can best support others and how we can build deeper, more meaningful connections. One of the most powerful aspects of silence is its ability to help us focus on the present moment. So often we are caught in the cycle of past regrets or future anxieties. We either dwell on what went wrong or worry about what might happen next. But in silence, we are able to quiet those distractions and focus on the here and now. This clarity in the present moment allows us to be fully engaged in what we are doing, making us more effective, more productive, and more at peace. We stop worrying about what has happened or what might come, and instead we fully embrace the moment we are in. When you're constantly reacting to the noise around you, it's easy to lose sight of your goals and your values. But in silence, you can reconnect with your vision for the future. You can take stock of where you are, where you've been, and where you want to go. You can reflect on what truly matters to you and realign your actions with your long-term goals. When life feels overwhelming, silence allows you to take a step back and refocus. It gives you the opportunity to assess where you are, what's working, and what needs to change. Silence also opens the door to inspiration. When the mind is quiet and still, it becomes more receptive to new ideas, creative insights, and solutions to problems. In the quiet, our minds are free to explore new possibilities without the constant pressure of external demands. This is often when the best ideas come, when we give ourselves the space to think, to dream, and to create. Silence allows us to connect with our inner creativity and tap into the resources that are already within us. Ultimately, silence is not a passive state, but an active choice. It is a choice to tune out the distractions and the chaos of the world and to make room for the clarity that can only arise in stillness. It is in these quiet moments that we find the direction, the peace, and the understanding we need to move forward with confidence and purpose. By embracing silence, we open ourselves up to the clarity that can guide us through life's challenges and help us achieve our highest potential. Let them wonder. In life, we often feel the pressure to explain ourselves, to justify our decisions, and to provide answers to others. But sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is to let others wonder. When you allow people to question your choices, your actions, your path, you create an air of mystery and strength that commands respect. Instead of feeling the need to constantly explain yourself, you leave room for curiosity, and that curiosity often works in your favor. Letting others wonder doesn't mean being secretive or deceptive, nor does it mean that you're trying to manipulate others' perceptions. It means that you are comfortable with who you are and confident in your decisions. It's about choosing not to reveal everything about yourself, allowing your actions to speak for you. There's a certain power in withholding information, not out of fear, but out of wisdom and self-assurance. When you live a life of purpose, when you know exactly where you're headed, you don't need to explain every move you make. People will start to notice that you are focused, deliberate, and moving with intention. That in itself will make them wonder. In a world where everyone is constantly trying to explain themselves through social media conversations or public displays, it's refreshing to stand apart and remain a little mysterious. When you allow others to wonder about you, you create intrigue. You become someone who doesn't reveal all their cards at once. You allow your actions and accomplishments to speak for themselves without the need for constant validation or explanation. This creates an air of respect because people start to realize that you don't feel the need to seek approval from anyone. You are secure in who you are, and that confidence is magnetic. This approach also allows you to maintain control over your narrative. When you constantly explain yourself, you open the door for others to question or criticize your decisions. But when you let them wonder, you take the reins of your story. You're no longer defined by their perceptions or judgments. You create space for others to wonder about the depth of your character, the true motivations behind your actions, and the true scope of your potential. Instead of giving in to the pressure of constant explanation, you let your journey unfold on its own terms. In many ways, letting others wonder is a form of self-respect. It's acknowledging that your worth doesn't need to be justified. When you're living with purpose, you don't have to explain every move you make or every decision you take. People who are secure in themselves don't feel the need to explain themselves to others. They let their actions do the talking. Your life becomes a reflection of the quiet strength that you possess. This doesn't mean that you're being passive or indifferent to others, but rather that you have the confidence to stay true to your vision without being swayed by the opinions or expectations of others. Moreover, when you let others wonder, you create space for growth. People are naturally curious about things they don't fully understand, and this curiosity can open doors for deeper connections and opportunities. When you allow people to wonder, they start to observe you more closely, and in turn, they begin to respect you more. They may begin to see you as someone who has something unique, someone who is living with intention, and someone who doesn't feel the need to follow the crowd. This curiosity can foster a sense of admiration and respect that draws people toward you. Not because you've explained everything, but because they're intrigued by what you stand for and what you're doing. There's also a freedom that comes with letting others wonder. You stop living for the approval or expectations of others, and you start living for yourself. You don't feel compelled to explain or justify your choices. You trust that your actions are aligned with your values, and that's enough. It's freeing to know that you don't owe anyone an explanation for your life. The less you feel the need to explain, the more freedom you gain. This freedom allows you to make decisions that are truly aligned with your purpose without being distracted by the need for external validation. Letting others wonder is also a powerful way to preserve your energy. Constantly defending yourself, explaining your actions, or trying to convince others of your worth can be draining. But when you choose to stay silent or to let people wonder, you conserve your energy for the things that matter most to you. Instead of getting caught up in unnecessary conversations or debates, you focus on what you need to do to move forward in your life. This shift in focus gives you more clarity, more peace, and more drive to continue pursuing your goals. In the end, letting others wonder is a quiet yet profound way to communicate your strength, your purpose, and your confidence. When you stop explaining and start living with intention, you open the door to deeper respect and admiration. You allow your actions to speak louder than your words, and in doing so, you create a narrative that is uniquely yours. Letting others wonder doesn't make you mysterious for the sake of it. It makes you someone who is focused, confident, and secure in the path you are walking. And when people begin to wonder, they will begin to recognize the depth of your character, the strength of your purpose, and the power of your silence. Stay quiet, stay confident, and let your silence do the talking.